So, at the beginning when my vision exploded, it didn't have to do with the sun. Yeah, I can't even like it yet. What I'm seeing right now, yeah, that's what I see always. No, it had nothing to do with the sun at the beginning. Then I came across somebody else, and I still jumped onto his channel here and there. He's definitely still putting out the good word. His job is way shore. Brilliant, Michael. Our everyday lives, I don't care, I'll mention you on here. Absolutely brilliant. And I told him, once I started seeing him more, I was like, bro, do you see the stuff behind you? He's like, no, I don't, but others have, and he believes. That's all you gotta do. But it was through him that I started staring to and through the sun. And, yeah, that is when apparently whatever I'd come across before that, it was enough to put a lot of cracks in my pineal. But then staring at the sun one day, I'll tell the story about it maybe another time. Oh, you know what, why not? Why not right now? It doesn't take too long anyway. So I'm in the one park that I was hanging out in. This is before I started hanging with Lily Dale, anything else. And I'm just listening to one of his podcasts. And he's just like, I don't even know, I wasn't able to find this one again afterwards, there's a lot of bizarre at the very beginning of mine. But I came across it, and he's just saying, you can do it, just keep staring, just go through it. And I just kept staring at the sun, And it looked like, as I'm staring, I actually backed his message up, started listening a little bit over again, and I'm still staring. This big old park, there's a whole bunch of people around. And a couple people walk by, they're walking their dog. And it's a big old circle in this park. I just stopped right there, so we're just going to get the sun in the shot if it wants to be in there. But yeah, so these people are walking their dogs, and I kind of heard their conversation. And a few minutes later, 5, 6, 7 minutes later, they walked around again because they made it around the big old loop. I swear they were talking, almost talking the same conversation. I'm like, yeah, no big deal. And I just kind of dropped back into my zone. 5, 7, 8 minutes later, all the time, there is no time. But they passed by again. And the third time, the second time I was like, third time, I swear, they were saying the same exact thing. And yeah, after that, as I kept watching and kept staring and kept looking to and through the sun, that one that you just seen right there, I've seen it. I can look at it at high noon. I might sting a little bit, but then I can look away from the sun now. I can stare at it for 5 minutes, look away from it, and see perfectly clear. It heals you. Yeah. So I continue staring, and the sun, at one point, is floating. These clouds are kind of like getting around it. It's almost like you ever seen a smoky yellow moon or something like that? That's what the sun started looking like. People say the moon's made of cheese. It looked like green cheese because the whole thing just went, and it looked like it snuffed out. And this was before my limiting beliefs were completely blown away by a different event. But I literally watched the sun. It looked like it went out, and it starts floating down. And I seen the silver lining in the clouds. And out of the silver lining, these light beings came out. They were like, it was like they were like liquid lightning. And it just kind of like floated, and I didn't know what they were. There's a couple of videos, I think one on YouTube that I had put up, where when you really look at the sun rather than the clouds, or whichever, like the outlines, you'll see them. But they floated up to the sun, and it looked like as soon as they touched on it, they lit up. I was in awe. But the first words out of my mouth, I want to dance with you. That was, some bizarre things had happened aside from the main thing with my vision. But that was beautiful. And I was having a thought today on, some of us that are experiencing this kind of stuff, we'll stop on occasion. I have no denials and know nothing about it. But, every once in a while you're like, did I like die in an accident? Like, and I'm in a coma or something like that somewhere. Yeah, you get those little things. But for me, there's been far too much. So this is my time. And if it's your timing to wake up, if you're beginning to wake up, if you're partway through to wake up, if you're in the knowing of certain things, I'm finding quite a lot of people now. I think it's all going to come. I know it's all going to come together because everything's already done. It's already done. Everybody's fine. But yeah, that's part of my, what do you want to call it, origin story. But yeah, that's just wicked. All right, Trev. Well, that's a little bit of it. I also have 2 videos, like I said. One's 35 minutes, one's about 50 minutes. They're from the March equinox. I was in that 4 or 5 day time frame where my limiting beliefs completely disappeared. When this happened,